Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Talking City podcast with myself, Alex James, and Chief City writer Simon Bukowski, back from his sojourn to Sicily, which I'm sure we'll get into in a little bit more detail. But first up, we've got a sponsor. I know that's not maybe the breaking transfer news you were hoping, but we can come to that. So forgive me for the lack of auto cue and me reading this off my phone, but we are being sponsored at the moment by Nord. So big thank you to them. And to get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, just go to nordvpn.com/Talking City. And our link will also give you 4 extra months on a 2-year plan. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, and the link is in the podcast episode description box. Right, that's the sponsorship news. And Mr. Bukowski, you've got some, I would say, breaking news. If we had a klaxon in here or an alarm, or
two breaking bits of news, really.
Yes.
Well, yeah. It depends when you listen, of course. But
yeah.
2 breaking bits this morning. Not long after I've sort of travelled back from Palermo, so I'm a bit frazzled all over the place. But most recent first, Jack Grealish has agreed a loan deal with Everton for the season. So Jack's going to Everton for the season, which was, Everton have been interested for a while. And Everton also have David Moyes has been a bit impatient with their business and they're moving into this new stadium and they want a statement signing. And hopefully, for everyone, I think everyone hopes Jack Grealish will go well at Everton. And then also Tottenham have had talks with City over signing Savinho, which has kind of blown everyone's mind, really. Not because it's like a crazy transfer or anything, but just because no one really saw it coming.
Yeah, that is as left field as they come. If Grealish has sort of been talked about for weeks and weeks, Savinho's come from nowhere, hasn't it?
Yeah, and there's this thing that's been going around about how City have too many non-homegrown players to register for the Champions League squad, and there's obviously been debate about who's going to go, and then like no one's mentioned Savinho. Like he came last year, he played loads for Guardiola last season, over 3,000 minutes. He started 3 out of the 4 games in the Club World Cup. The one against Al Ain was the only one he didn't. Yeah. So clearly looked kind of like first choice. He played a half at Palermo in the team that looked more like the team that is going to start at Wolves next Saturday, really. And he got an assist for Reinders. And then, it's kind of, let's sort of clarify a few things. City don't want to sell him. City want to keep him. But if the player wants to go...
Yeah, it's the classic City. We won't stand in your way if the price is right.
Yeah, and I don't think the player has kind of formally asked to leave, but it would be strange for Tottenham to just come out of the blue and say, oh, that promising youngster you've got that's played loads for you, will you sell him?
Yeah.
And for City to sort of entertain the talks. So very strange. Like if they are to sell him, City want like more than 50 million, and that isn't necessarily like
50 million in a pound.
Yeah. It's not the John Henry world. It's significantly more. So I don't think anyone would be expecting Savinho to leave. And Pep's talked him up a lot.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't too long ago he was sort of describing him as the future, wasn't it?
In that
forward line. And as you say, he played a lot last season.
And even at the Club World Cup, and he was saying about how he's, improving his decision-making in the final third, and he's so young, and when it comes to him, and he wants to step up and be decisive and score all those goals and assists, in the way that Raheem Sterling did. And there were so many moments when Guardiola thought, is Sterling ever going to be this goal scorer? And then he just went and shot off.
Yeah.
But equally, Guardiola doesn't want players who don't want to be there or would rather be elsewhere. Like, I don't know if I'm Savinho, I'm thinking I want to leave. You sort of think maybe you don't like the fresh competition, maybe you don't like the extra competition.
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
It's a strange one.
You wouldn't have thought. Well, from what everything Pep said, he doesn't envisage the next 2-3 years without Savinho. And you said he played more than 3,000 minutes, and it's not just playing that amount of minutes. It's the games he played in as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I think he played in both games against Liverpool and one against Arsenal, both games against Real Madrid. Did he start the cup final? I think he did start the cup final, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he's playing in the big games as well, what you would...
Yeah, but also like a young player in his first season with Pep. Like, you compare him to, say, Leroy Sané, who's probably a similar, albeit less experienced than like his first season. I doubt he got anywhere close to that. Bernardo Silva in his first season, I doubt he got close. And he'd just gone to the Champions League semis with Monaco. So, it's not like he hasn't had the opportunities. With Julian Alvarez, you can maybe say, oh, well, he was always going to be second fiddle to Haaland and things like that, and he wants to be the main man. And you sort of think, interesting one. And, it might not go anywhere. And we might be talking next week on the podcast about Savinho playing at Wolves and committing his future to the club and, all this brilliant stuff. But for now, we're saying he could leave, which we didn't think we would be saying.
Yeah, and I guess part of this is, Pep has kind of brazenly advertised we've got players for sale, hasn't he? In a way that, and perhaps some of the players who City would, in an ideal world, look to move on. They're the players who've been coming out in the last few weeks and months saying, well, I'm not going anywhere. I'm desperate to stay and fight for my future. And we've ended up inviting a scenario where a player signed 12 months ago.
Yeah, and it doesn't look good. It wouldn't look good, shall we say, because it's not certain to happen, but it wouldn't look good optics-wise to sell a young promising winger so soon after you've signed him, but also part of this big rebuild turns out to be actually keeping all the old players and getting rid of the young ones. But it kind of has to be seen in isolation as well, and in that trend of, right, if a player wants to go, then...
And I guess the flip side is, maybe... Bernardo, Gundogan at the sort of play at Kovacic. Yeah. But you're not getting 50, 60 million for anyway for all three of those.
Yeah. And also the flip side is the flip side only comes at the end of this year or the end of 2 years if they've sold him, because you see how he does. Yeah. And then you say, have they made a massive mistake by selling him, or actually have they got a hell of a lot of money for a player who hasn't fulfilled that potential?
And it's very difficult City have got so much competition in that position as well. And he's 21. Is he in City's best 11? Possibly. Probably. Maybe not. Is his ceiling higher than Doku's?
Yeah.
Difficult to know. Foden, you would say, is going to have a better player than Savinho at the moment, and has probably got a higher ceiling. Yeah. Maybe Cherky has as well.
Likes to sign drift to the right. So, Marmouche used on the wings.
And needed to fill in at centre forward, so selling him would be so I can kind of, and is it they've utilised the CFG system. Is this kind of what you want from the CFG system, where you find a player, you are able to sign him from a partner club, and then you sell him on at profit depending on whether or not it's a success at City? I don't know.
I sort of see it as he was the perfect CFG story. He was everything they wanted from the CFG. This is a guy who they've brought to one of the clubs in Europe, and then he's sort of...
From the farms of South America.
Yeah, to the mothership at Manchester City, and he becomes this beacon for everyone to look up to in the same way that Phil Foden was through the academy and things like that. And then kind of maybe selling him is just not everything's a fairy tale. You don't always get your perfect ending, and Savinho goes on to win the Ballon d'Or at City, and it's what an amazing triumph for City and the whole group. It's actually... it's not gone as everyone expected, and he's gone. Yeah. And now the next one has to carve their own path, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's parallel a bit with the Nico Gonzalez talk as well, isn't it? Someone who we've seen even less of Nico Gonzalez, and there's maybe more merit in that because we've seen less of him.
But and with Nico Gonzalez, there was a lot of noise around a potential transfer a few months ago, and now it's all dead, and he's absolutely pivotal to...
Yeah, and he's going to start on Saturday.
Yeah. So we might be saying that about Savinho. It's not at Grealish levels of, it's done, it's gone. But it is just kind of, a surprise. I didn't expect to be talking about Savinho today at all.
No. And we, as you said, we'll just have to see what happens, because the window, 2-3 weeks left of it yet. And we've seen with Nico Gonzalez that we can go from, oh my word, this is amazing. What kind of transfer talk is this?
Yeah.
Nothing happening at all, and then suddenly he's pivotal because of a setback for Rodri.
Yeah.
And he's needed to start the opening game of the season. You said there that he was part of the team, Savinho, who looked a bit like the first choice team, or the more first choice team, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah.
What were your sort of reflections on Palermo, having been out there and covering it sort of?
Most of it I can't repeat.
You're laughing
Most
there.
of it I can't say, or I can't write, because it was just pretty wild.
You've not got a flavor. You share a flavour of the.
But yeah, I mean, Palermo were absolutely thrilled to have City, and I mean the Friday night. So a personal. I don't really like doing personal stories, but the flights from Manchester weren't great, so I went from Stansted, and then I was all going fine getting the train sort of towards Stansted, and then something happened with an incident later on in the line, and all trains to London were blocked. And I'm thinking like, fortunately it was quite near Peterborough, so we were probably like sat there for an hour doing nothing. But then we made it to Peterborough, and there's direct trains from Peterborough to Stansted. So I had a bit of a journey getting there, and then got there and landed and got a text from someone at Manchester City to say, yeah, we haven't set off on time. We've been delayed. So the press conference won't be at the stadium where it was meant to. There's like a gala dinner that Pep and a few of the executives are meant to attend. So we'll bring Pep to you at this gala dinner if you can come to this gala dinner. So...
And had you packed your tuxedo?
I hadn't packed tuxedo. There's four journalists who were over there covering the trip, me and three others. So we arrive in this taxi to this like amazing stately home, Palazzo. I've just finished second season of White Lotus, where it's one of the filming locations for that, and it's like incredible. And it's like the opening credits, all the murals on the walls inside are the opening credits. It's like, it felt very surreal to be there. But we rock up and there's about 8 women in dresses with clipboards with names, and obviously our names are not on them because we've not been invited to the dinner. Like Pipo Inzaghi turns up in a tux and walks past, and we're like, right, this is some company. So we're then shuttled round to the service entrance, and but go inside, and we're waiting in this magnificent place, City land. Then there's an accident on the motorway, and they're stuck on a motorway trying to get here. The Palazzo kind of, one room had air conditioning, the actual press conference room didn't, so circulation was very important. They finally bundle in at like 10:30 at night, and all of the execs go in one room to get changed, shut the door, so the circulation stops. Then like 10 minutes later, Pep walks in a hoodie and feels like he's walked into a sauna, and he's like, it's hot. It's hot. And we're like, right, okay. We're like all huddled round Pep.
For warmth.
Yeah. We're huddled round Pep, and there's like these incredible frescoes on the wall, but like also an advertising board behind his head that's been hastily erected so that it looks like a proper setting. And we kind of try and be a bit positive, and it's like, oh, Pep, you had time with the players. You always say you don't get time with them. That must have been nice. Well, I don't think we've had enough friendlies. I'm not sure we've got enough friendlies and things like that. It's like, all right, a few players haven't travelled, so are they going to be fit for Wolves? Well, Rodri, I don't think he's going to be really fit until after the international break. You know, he might play, but yeah, he had a big injury against Al Hilal. He's not really trained with us. Trained the last few days, but that's it. Like, right. Like, I mean, we were just talking before, like, you have got loads of midfielders, so it's going to be like quite a big ask to whittle them down, really, isn't it? And select kind of just 3 in the midfield. Like, well, you say that, we've got 3 players for holding midfield. Rodri, who's not really fit. Kovacic, who's out until October. Well, I thought he was back in August. He's been on the plane today. No, out till October. And Nico Gonzalez. So that's that.
Come on down, Nico.
Yeah. So it's suddenly like, oh my word. So it was a real roller coaster of a ride on Friday. Not least because then kind of loads of outlets reported it as Rodri being out until after the international break, and it was like, no, read the quotes, read what he's actually said. But yeah, it was fun. But Saturday, Palermo were absolutely thrilled to have
the game.
Yeah, the game. Palermo were absolutely thrilled to have City. They had
the atmosphere looked something else.
Yeah. They had an Oasis tifo. They had a local rapper, singer do a show for 10, 15 minutes before the game. They were just like honoured to have City there, which was nice to see, and sort of, you never really know what's fully going on at the City Football Group and how their fan bases are being perceived and things like that. But Palermo seemed very, very happy to have kind of City's backing.
Yeah. And then on the pitch, I guess the big story was Reinders, wasn't it? Second half looked really impressive.
Yeah.
Breaking into the box.
But also I would say the two teams, like the lineup came out and like the reaction from everyone was like, fantastic. This is really fun. This is a great looking team. And then all the changes at half time, and it was kind of like, oh, and it was like, this kind of looks like the team for Saturday, guys. This kind of looks like the team. The second half was Ederson, Nunes, Akanji, Diaz, Ake, Gundogan, Silva, Reinders, Savinho, Doku, Haaland. And that, I'd be surprised if there's more than a few changes to that. I think Guardiola might come in.
Guardiola, Foden,
but he's had a knock as well. So I don't think there will be too many changes. And Reinders, just like he just looked like kind of prime Gundogan, or saw people making Lampard comparisons.
Yeah, Lampard was one that struck me. Yeah, just his way of arriving in the box, and he could have had 4.
Yeah, he
nearly broke the keeper's wrist with that one, didn't he? It was as someone who's got a fractured wrist.
He just glides as well. He glides across the pitch. He glides into the box. He just looks so stylish and so classy. And like in the same way that kind of Savinho and Doku, you would say like, are not stereotypically Pep players.
Yeah,
like he just looks it. He looks like Pep probably played or wishes he played for the whole of his career, because it was just like really, it's always nice to watch him, but you can't get too carried away with pre-season, but he just looked like it, and also scored the goals to make him look like it as well, because as we know, sort of looking the part is one thing, but actually getting the goals is another.
Yeah, the end product's what we talked about with Savinho. We talked about it with Doku a lot, haven't we? The end product. Of that. So
I mean, if you were to ask me now who's going to get the most goals this season, it's going to be Haaland, and then it's probably going to be Marmoush, and then I wouldn't be surprised if Reinders was third.
Is he just going to be wasted if he's ever needed to be, like Gundogan has been needed to be deployed further back, hasn't he?
Well, this is what Pep said. He said, I've got those 3. He was like, Reinders and Gundogan can play there, but when everyone's fit, I would rather them be up the pitch. Now,
is he going to trust Nico Gonzalez to do?
Is he going to trust Nico Gonzalez?
The first 3 of the season.
Maybe. I think he will start at Wolves, but also I think it's more likely that he plays Gundogan back and Reinders forward. I think Reinders is less likely than Gundogan to be asked to play further back, because Reinders is probably more effective than Gundogan going forward. So if you want someone in that role, you'd rather it be Reinders.
And he has stuck his hand up and said, I'm in that first 11, hasn't he? Anybody else who you thought either kind of played their way in, played their way out?
I thought Rico Lewis was very good in the first half and kind of continued his good pre-season. Oscar Bob looked really good. Just like running at his winger, going. He got some very physical treatment, and he was like,
he was fouled 4 or 5 times in 30-second passing.
But there was an edge, and he wasn't happy with it, and he was like, it just made him more determined to go again, and sort of, especially with the Savinho news this morning, you kind of think, well, maybe Oscar Bob can barge him out the way and say, I'm taking that spot now, see you later.
That little right-hand side Bob, Rico Lewis and Cherky
was good,
drifting a lot.
Yeah.
That looked very kind of effective. And again, classic Talking City podcast of building things up based on 45 minutes, but that looked like a really effective combination.
I mean, Gonzalez was okay. He wasn't great. He was alongside Nico O'Reilly, and Nico O'Reilly didn't have a good game. Like, he just kept giving the ball away, and you could see Gonzalez getting annoyed with him and things like that. So in terms of like that position question, I don't think anyone will be confident in that position for Wolves. But as in, anyone will be confident by whichever player is picked to fill it.
Yeah.
But there were some bright performances otherwise, and of course James Trafford started kind of his first game, so nice for him to get some minutes.
Just quickly on Trafford before we wrap up. I think you spoke to him, didn't you, after the game?
Yeah.
Confident, impressive.
Confident, impressive. Also,
tall.
Really tall. Do you know what?
Taller than you think, isn't he? I think somehow.
He passed me on Tuesday at the open training, and I sort of thought, oh, he's not. I think he was next to Ederson, and it's kind of like, does everyone look small next to Ederson because Ederson's so broad? But yeah, he's really tall, very tall, 6'6". I spoke to him very early in his career when he was a youngster coming through at City, and he had some very bold things to say. And you don't mind that with goalkeepers, but it's a bit unusual, isn't it, for people who are still who still haven't done anything in the game. He was much more measured, much more mature speaking to him, and sort of, I said, Pep said you can be England number one for the next decade. Like, do you think you can do that for England and for City? And he said, I'd love to. That's what I want, but I'm going to have to work really hard every day if I want to do it. And of course, that allows people such as me to write, James Trafford wants to be City and England's number one for a decade. But like the respect for Ederson, and even like Newcastle, we said like as soon as City came in, was there no decision? And he was like, no, there was a decision. Like, I did have to think about it. I just concluded that City was the best move for me. And it would have been easy for him to come out and say, oh yeah, no, as soon as City came in, I was gone. That kind of thing. I was very impressed by him. And I'm sure City's communications team will have been very happy.
On message.
Yeah. Ederson's going to start the season number one, but promising from Trafford as well.
Good stuff. I guess we will find out more on Friday, I think, when you'll be down to chat to Pep, and hopefully in more air-conditioned surroundings than you found yourself in Italy. And of course, you can keep up to speed with, I say this every time, but you can keep up to speed with everything, and there's a lot to keep up to speed with at the moment with Grealish, as we've mentioned, and Savinho, and potentially more to follow in terms of the remainder of the transfer window. So keep up to speed on all the usual channels. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you again soon.